I'm Pastor Thomas here. We as a church have entered into phase 2 of our ministry Relaunch, which is opening up our Sunday services. Last week in the video I talked about this phase has 3 steps. A preparation step that we're entering into now, a trial step that's going to happen in August, and then there's going to be the relaunch, which will be in September and October. As part of this preparation, we're going to be releasing weekly videos and different documents and information to help give you a sense of what is it going to be like when you're actually here on a Sunday morning? How can you be preparing at home for what to expect here? This is the first video in this preparation series, and we wanted to talk about the setup of our sanctuary and then also talk about the idea of cohorting together. And so, how the sanctuary is going to be set up, we have 3 sections of pews. We have left, center, and right. In the center, we're going to keep this first row with no one sitting in. It's kind of the spray zone for the preacher. And then starting in the second row, we're going to have people sitting every second pew. And so there's space for about 8 Thomases. I sat in there. I'm a bigger guy. Put tape, and you comfortably fit 8 adults in each pew. Obviously more if there's children. And we're going to have a total of 7 pews available here in the center. And we're going to do the same thing on the wings. So we'll leave the first pew empty, sitting every second pew, which are staggered with the center ones. And then on this side here, you're going to have 6 pews available for people. And then on this side, again, front pew empty, every other pew. We're going to take out the last pew, though, to create a little bit more space and more room for flow for our wheelchair members of our congregation. And then we have 4 here. So on the sides, we have a total of 10 plus the wheelchair, and then we have 7 in the middle. Now, who sits here? Well, each of these pews are reserved for families or cohorts. Now, sorry, by families, I really mean households. So we're going to have a sign up online that you'll be able to do, and you're going to reserve, when you say, hey, we're coming, you're going to pick what size your family, household, or cohort is, and then you're going to reserve an entire pew. And so on the wings, those will be reserved for single families or smaller cohorts. And then here in these middles, these will be reserved for larger families or larger cohorts. Thinking of families, like multi-generation families that are cohorting together. They can all sit together in one pew. What this will allow us to do is this allows us to have a little bit more people in our services while still maintaining proper physical distance, following the government guidelines. Now, you might be wondering, okay, I've heard this word before, a cohort, but I'm not really totally sure what that is. In the email going out today, there's going to be an attachment. We'll also put this on the website, the government guidelines for cohorts and more information about what that is. But in short, what it says is that a cohort includes the people with whom you regularly spend the longest amounts of time and have the closest physical contact. And these are people that you can hug and touch, and those who are part of your daily routines. And this can be up to 15 people. So in short, this is a cohort, are people that you can kind of ignore some of the social distancing rules outside of your own household. So it opens up doors for social interactions and childcare, all these sorts of other things. Well, we can take these cohorts that we already have, and I know many of you have already cohorted, multi-generation families or families of similar ages or people in similar life stages. You've cohorted together. Well, we can take those cohorts and apply them to our church situation. No, what we can't do is you can't have a church cohort and then a social cohort. They have to be one and the same. And so, Zion, what I want to encourage you today is if you don't already have a cohort, to think about establishing a cohort. Or if you have one, it's like 5 to 6 people, maybe thinking of growing that. I want to encourage you to strongly think and consider getting into a cohort. Not just, there's benefits not just for your social life, but also your spiritual life. People that you can be meeting with and pouring into, and them pouring into you. And then if we do that, if we commit to that as a church, it also allows us to have some more people here, to open up the door greater for people to attend. And as you're thinking about establishing a cohort, I want to encourage you also to think about those in our congregation who either live alone or either that they're single or widowed or whatnot. think about including them in your cohort. Oh, and then if that is you, if you are single or live alone, ask other people if you can join in a cohort with them. Maybe you can gather with other people like you or a family that you know. Reach out to them, say, hey, I'm looking for a cohort. Can we do that together? Let's find ways for us to galvanize together as a church. And I think that it doesn't just help us numbers-wise, but I think it would help us individually in our own relationships. I'm sure many of you are like me that are just desperate for some form of social interaction, regular rhythms beyond just your own household. Think about ways that you can build a cohort. So that's it for today. I wanted to give you a sense as to how the sanctuary is going to be laid out. In future videos, we'll talk about the flow, how people are going to come and leave, talk about the personal protective equipment. But this gives us a good start today, talking about just how you're going to sit, and then wanted to give you this idea of cohorting now so that you can start putting them together, because they might take a little bit of time. If you have any questions or if you want help organizing a cohort, feel free to reach out to the church office or myself, and we'll do our best. So thanks, Zion. We'll see you next week with some more information about how we are preparing as a church to relaunch our Sunday services. Bye.